I think in 2016 we did that to weaken the ANC, and it is weakened now to a point where it can't recover, I would argue. To work with them now is convenient for the EFF because it gives us an opportunity to be in posts of government and conduct service delivery, in our opinion. So it works for us now to be in a MMC post in Johannesburg, in Ekurhuleni, in Tshwane, in Nelson Mandela Bay, because it gives us an opportunity to exhibit that we can govern. That is how it is convenient for us. But the ANC is engaged in a relationship with the EFF that presumes that we should support them all the time, and when we don't, they use that as some sort of exhibition that they shouldn't work with us in national government. And I don't say it as a tilted lover. I say it because it's manipulative on their side, but also inconsistent, because they know that when they are in trouble, for example, the mayor of Ekurhuleni,
they keep in the back pocket.
They keep us in the back pocket.
You helped retain Dr. Kagaza,
yeah,
yes,
2 weeks ago or last week ago.
Yep.
When they're in trouble with a vote of no confidence, they know that let's go and talk to the EFF because we need their support. When they're in trouble in terms of the budget, they come to us to ask us to
I posted the picture there by the toilet. So you're confirming that you're a useful tool to
I don't
the
think
ANC.
They perceive us as that, and I think that's the warning that the President and Commander-in-Chief was making to them, that you can't consider us fire on one day and water on the next day, because there's going to be consequences for that as well. So as much as they might think we're a useful tool, we can regard them as a useful tool for us as well, because we've got MMCs at their behest in terms of these metropolitans. So I'm not really concerned about how they perceive us, but they must know that we're not beholden to them. And their characterization of the EFF, which is negative, we must get the EFF out in Ekurhuleni. They're not helpful, but when they're in trouble, they come to the EFF. They must know that that is not always going to be consistently the case, that we're going to be watered the next day when we've been fired for the whole time and they don't want to work with us in other spheres of government. I think the tweet you're talking about is the one of Mbalula. I think Fikile Mbalula is at the center of not wanting to have the EFF in national government. That's my personal opinion. And he's got some nefarious tie to the Democratic Alliance that he's holding on to. I don't know if he thinks it's going to help him in his presidential campaign in 2027. I don't know. But he did state also the other day that including the EFF national government will lead to their demise because we might be worse than the DA. Perhaps that's the same line of argument they had in Ekurhuleni, that we're outperforming them, and to include us will eat at the same base that we share. But to be useful tools for each other is neither here nor there. But they must know that we're not going to always be there to support them when they need help, when they regard us as useful tools, as you've said.
Now that you've mentioned the ANC succession debate.
Yeah.
Because I didn't bring it into the conversation. You did.
Yeah.
I want that clarity, né? When you speak about Fikile Mbalula, I saw a statement from the EFF about Deputy President Paul Mashatile's attempted assassination. I thought, on the one hand, it is important to worry about a leader and the leader's well-being and claims of an assassination. Absolutely. Yeah. But it also got me thinking that there seems to be this constant focus on dethroning the ANC. You just said that you've weakened it already. So one would then say, but you've done the job. Should you not be focusing on the EFF and throning yourselves? You guys used to call yourselves the government in waiting. Should that not be the focus as opposed to dethroning the ANC? So what if Mbax wants to hold on to the DA because he wants to be president of the ANC through the DA? That's their business. It's got nothing to do with your focus. Should be the Reds, surely.
No, it is, and it is. But I think it's just political commentary. It's something that we're observing. Yeah, it's something that I think needs to be said because he's operating with that logic. I mean, when we sent that message, that statement about the threats of assassination to the deputy president, it was out of genuine concern as to, of course, there are those underlying
timing.
There are those underlying.
It was very interesting timing, EFF, but okay, it was genuine concern.
It was authentic. It was authentic. That it's the deputy president of South Africa, whether we like him or not. But it's someone that is saying this car was shot at 6 times. Why is no one saying anything? We even said in the statement, look, we know that there's those internal challenges in the ANC. Maybe they don't want to say anything. But state departments, state agencies, and law enforcement should say something when there's a supposed threat to the life of the deputy president. The fact that it would entrench perhaps contradictions in the ANC, I think is not our intention. But of course, it did have that impact as well.
But you carry that perception with you then, that the EFF, as long as it exists, it's almost like if you look at currently, if you look at Action SA and DA, DA people will tell you that Action SA they feel is obsessed with them and will make every decision to one up them. You then need to also maybe shake that off because you're not a new party. You're now 12 years this year. And I don't think you can afford to continuously be seen as being obsessed with the ANC. Yet, political commentary, as you call it, puts you exactly there.
No, I don't think. I think the relationship between us and the ANC and Action SA and DA is completely different. I don't think we are as. There's something deeply rooted wrong between Action SA and DA, and I think all former DA leaders, Bossa as well. The budget process showed me that. Anyway, yeah, the budget process showed me that they don't. They're really interested in hurting the DA in whatever shape or form, and it informs their decisions and interpretations of legislation. I don't think it's gone that far or has been that far with the EFF. Where necessary, we work with the ANC if it's to the benefit of people or if it's to the benefit of the EFF, having a mechanism to have access to power to ensure the service delivery objectives. But the Action SA and DA is extremely deep-rooted and is going to cause a lot more harm than good, I think, to Herman Mashaba and Musi Maimane. I'm told Songa Zibi also tried to be a councillor or something of the DA and was rejected. I don't know how true that is. But their interactions with the DA, I don't think are productive for them or for the country. I think they've got a lot to offer. And
Action SA,
all of them. I think they've got a lot to offer.
All our political parties have their pros and cons across the board, yeah.
But they are blinded by their rage towards the DA, whatever it causes it. The budget process should have shown us. They were refusing to listen to anyone's logic about this is not going to be possible by this time and date and frame. And you could see them just pivot to the fact that they're trying to stop the DA from extorting the ANC. So their interaction is not productive. And I mean, they meant well on the budget. I think they meant well when they were doing those votes for recommendations of 30 days. But the blinders they had to try to undercut the DA in the GNU made them have deep misinterpretations of what could happen.
In 2010, not 2010, when the EFF
I was in high
10
school.
Years,
You can't.
Okay, I'm trying to think about where was I. I'm not too old. It's okay. When the EFF marked 10 years,
Yeah.
one of the big things was that 1 million members campaign. The election results suggested that you don't have 1 million members. That's the election results. And then when you look at by-election results as well, it suggests that some of the branches that are being launched, we should actually question the veracity of what is being presented as part of that rebuilding process.
The EFF has received 1.2 million votes in the 2024 elections. I don't know if I've got that figure correct.
Yeah, you did broach. I remember.
So
you did broach 1 million. Okay.
Yeah, the correlation between million members and the voter outcome, I don't think is too far apart if you're going to look at it in that sense. But I hear where you're coming from. There is a need to interrogate, and we've had that conversation internally at the National People's Assembly and even at the recent meeting we had about our membership system and its strength to verify the credibility of the data that we received. This is a concession that the EFF makes in its discussion documents to the Third National People's Assembly as well, that we need to constantly work on not only modernizing and digitizing our membership systems, but ensuring that they can credibly verify attempts to subvert the authenticity of membership through launching of fake or bogus branches, because the intent to do that is always towards conferences. So, for example, now we're going to have sub-regional people's assemblies because we dissolved regions.
Yes.
So people who have an interest in leadership or are pursuing those positions because they think it will equate to them either being councillors next year or something of that nature will try to manipulate the process of establishing genuine branches of the EFF. But we are working on that. I mean, the Secretary General of the EFF now is conducting much more aggressive verification of membership, what we receive from the ground, what we receive from the provinces and structures, and turning back a lot of submissions that we are receiving of structures that we think are not authentic or do not meet the criteria to be genuine branches of the EFF as well. So it's something that we're working on. And I think it's commendable that the EFF is investing in something of that nature to have a credible, verifiable membership database system. And it is going to translate into better performances in by-elections. Historically, the EFF is not an organization that performs better in by-elections or local government elections as compared to national elections. And that is something we need to improve on when it comes to the candidates that we put forward. A candidate for a by-election has to be someone who's rooted in that community, who's known, who's an activist, who's respected.